Hello and welcome back to the Kentucky Career Center's Assistive Technology Learning Portal. This video is part of our continuing series on the built-in accessibility features of the Microsoft Ease of Access Center. In this installment, we'll take a look at two of the interaction features found under Ease of Access, the keyboard and mouse tools. Both of these tools are straightforward and let you customize how you control your computer. To begin, click the Start button in the bottom left corner of your screen. Click the gear icon to enter the Settings menu. Choose Ease of Access. In the left column, under the Interaction section, you'll find the Keyboard tab. The first control on this page is a toggle switch that switches the on-screen keyboard on and off. The on-screen keyboard lets you type without touching the keyboard and is very useful for people who want to type with a mouse, a joystick, a mouth stick, or another pointing device. You can also toggle the on-screen keyboard by holding the Windows key and Control and pressing the letter O. The next toggle switch controls a feature called Sticky Keys. If you are a slow typer or have trouble with reaching multiple keys at once, Sticky Keys can help you when typing keyboard shortcuts. If you have the checkbox below the toggle checked that says Allow the shortcut key to start Sticky Keys, you can activate Sticky Keys by pressing the Shift key 5 times. With Sticky Keys on, instead of having to hold down the Windows key and Control, for example, when typing a keyboard shortcut, you can simply press those keys and the computer will hold them down automatically while you press the other buttons in the sequence. Turning on Sticky Keys brings up a few more options. You can use the checkboxes to select whether you want an icon in the taskbar to remind you that Sticky Keys is active, whether to lock a modifier key like Control or Alt when you press it twice, whether to automatically turn off Sticky Keys when you press 2 keys at the same time to enter a keyboard shortcut manually, and whether to have the computer play a sound when the modifier buttons are pressed or released. The next toggle controls the Toggle Keys feature. This feature plays a sound anytime you press the number lock or caps lock keys. Again, there's a checkbox that allows you to activate the tool using a keyboard shortcut. If you have the box checked, you can turn on Toggle Keys by holding the numlock key for 5 seconds. I use toggle keys because when I get in a hurry, I sometimes hit the caps lock button instead of the letter A, which can mess up the word I'm typing. With toggle keys active, my computer will beep to let me know that I've pressed that button in case I did so accidentally. Another keyboard option is filter keys. There is a toggle to turn the feature on and off, and a checkbox to allow the keyboard shortcut. In this case, you hold the right Shift key for 8 seconds to start filter keys. Filter keys is useful for typists who might have hand tremors or other issues that make them shaky. If you are typing and you tap the same letter several times in a row very quickly, the computer can ignore the extra keystrokes. When you turn on filter keys, you have the option to select checkboxes to control a couple of settings. The first checkbox shows a notification in your taskbar that Filter Keys is active so that you're aware. You can also set the computer to make a sound whenever a key on the keyboard is pressed. The next toggle switch allows you to underline shortcut keys in menus when available. If you use your computer without a mouse, you know that you can access most of the commands through shortcut keys on your keyboard. Let me demonstrate with this Notepad document. With underline shortcuts active, the computer underlines the letter I should touch after Alt to access each menu item. If I press Alt, then F for the File menu, and P for Print, my computer will print the document. Now, if we turn the feature off, the underlines disappear. I can still use the Alt keyboard shortcuts to print my document, but I have to remember what the shortcut letters are. The Print Screen shortcut makes it easier to take a screenshot of a part of your screen. With this feature off, I can activate the screen clipping tool with the keyboard shortcut Windows key, Shift, S. I can then click and drag with my mouse to select a section of the screen, and the computer will take a snip and save it to the clipboard. I can click the pop-up in the bottom right corner to edit and save this. If I turn on the print screen shortcut toggle in my keyboard settings, I can bring up the same tool by simply pressing the computer's print screen button and avoid having to press several buttons at once. Finally, under Make It Easier to Type, I have two more checkboxes. The first box lets me choose whether I want my computer to pop up with a warning when I turn on sticky keys, toggle keys, or filter keys using the keyboard shortcuts. This way, I can make sure it worked and also keep from accidentally activating the features. The second checkbox lets me choose to play a sound when those features are activated as well. Now let's take a look at the mouse tools. On the menu on the left, under Interactions, click Mouse. On this screen, there is just one toggle. It allows you to control the movement of your mouse pointer using the number pad on your computer's keyboard instead of a mouse. If you turn on this toggle, you'll see a few options to control how this feature works. The first checkbox lets you turn the feature on and off by pressing the number lock button on your keyboard. The second checkbox shows a mouse keys icon in your taskbar to remind you that mouse keys is running. The third checkbox lets you control how fast the pointer moves around on the screen. You can hold the Control key while using the number pad to move your mouse quickly, and hold the Shift key to move it more slowly. Below the checkboxes are two slider controls. The first controls the normal speed that the mouse pointer moves when using the number pad. Normally, Windows moves the mouse faster based on how long you hold down the key on your number pad. If you hold it for a long time, the mouse pointer moves faster because it thinks you want to move someplace really far away. With the second slider, you can change how sensitive this feature is. You might want to limit this, for example, if you're playing a computer game and trying to move your mouse to a very precise spot very quickly. And that wraps up this video on the keyboard and mouse tools in the Windows Ease of Access Center. These tools can help change the way you enter information into your computer and interact with it. Be sure to check out our Learning Portal website for more videos on the tools in the built-in Microsoft Ease of Access Center. Thanks for watching.